evening. Ultimate Golf Duff here with a special Christmas edition of Duff's Drops of the Day. Notice the S, drops. We're doing multiple shots today. So stick around, watch them all. We've got tips and tricks for each scenario, couple of different clubs, couple of different wind conditions, and let's get right to it. Starting off, we are looking at hole 6, Torrey Pines. Now we've got a crosswind situation here. One of the tougher situations to get a drop. Very important, get that line right. So I've talked about this in previous videos. You got to straighten that line and get it good. Get it nice and straight. You'll see how often here I'm zooming in and zooming out and checking my side view, seeing what I'm actually looking at and making sure there's no little trickle of a curl in that line that's going to send me off course and end me up with an 898 or an 897 versus that sweet 999 that we all want. So I've checked my distance from max, picked my spot. Now notice, I do this all the time. I go to the side view and see where that rollout's going to be. Now notice there's a little bit of an uphill here. So I've set up a little bit closer than I normally would because it's not going to roll out as far as if that green was perfectly flat. Again, always double checking. How does it look? How does it look? Looking to the left, looking to the right. I finally make my adjustment. I'm not the fastest player in the world, but I'm not the slowest either. And then now it's just all about hitting perfect. And if you're using a good ball like some of these tour pros, that have that sweet spot, you don't even have to hit perfect and it's still going to go in. So a little bit of side door there, but in she went. So that was a crosswind Bigfoot. Now we're looking at hole 4 at Harbour Town. Tough-ish hole if you don't have the right club selection. I'm using a good ball here because I had a hell of a battle going with Trump and you in this 4-day tournament. And good on you, brother. You pushed me hard on this one. So I needed some drops. So we're looking lightning rod. Pegasus here will get there. Bigfoot doesn't reach, so Bigfoot's out of the equation. Pegasus will get here. But you've got that ball guide that's horrible. People swear by it in head-to-head play, and by all means use it. But in tournaments, there is zero situation where I am ever using a Pegasus. Maybe not zero. I probably have less than 5 Pegasus shots in tournaments in the last year. So lightning rod doesn't have that full backspin, but what it does have is an amazing ball guide and that nice gentle rollout. If you get a feel for that, it is money. So I'm picking my spot here. I'm adjusting my backspin. And same thing I do with the lightning rod that I do with the Bigfoot. So in a headwind situation, I'm going to go full backspin, look at my guide, where it's going to go in, and then I'm going to back one off. So you can see here, I don't have my full backspin. I'm one less because I know I've played this hole enough. I know what it is, but that is how I play it. Same as I do the Bigfoot. Back off a bar of backspin, reapply a bar of backspin, depending on if you're in a headwind or tailwind. So get my adjust down. It's a pretty accurate club, so you're moving a lot of rings. And even with that slight, there was about a 20% or 20-degree crosswind component there. I aimed left side of center, and you saw that drop right dead center. So now we're looking at hole 5, Whispering Pines, par 5. It's pretty important on this one to get your landing spot. Previous video, I talked about picking your spot off the tee. This is one of those holes where it's very, very important. You can run this one too far, and now you're stuck in the mid, Bigfoot, Max Orion. Maybe do I go Spectre? Do I try another club? No, stick with what you know. Max Bigfoot. It's money. Why would you hit anywhere else? So now don't look at this ball guide here, because the way those replays sometimes screw up the guide, that's what's happening here. So I'm around 1.8, 1.9 rings back from the hole with my setup, and I know on a 3.9 headwind that I need to put the guide to the back of the hole because the guide's going to compress and it's going to slow it down for a nice gentle speed when it goes in. And that's where it's so important. don't just sit here and throw full backspin on every single shot. You want to find a consistent distance back that you're hitting from. And that's what I do. I try and use 1.5 to 2 rings back. So here I was at 3.9. I put the guide to the back of the hole. Now watch the speed at which this one goes in. It's perfect. I'm not hopping it in. It's a nice roll in. So now we're looking at Hive. Again from the Tour Stop Classic. This hole, not drivable. You can get into the sand with a DX, but you're not going to make it on the green. And in this one, you do not want to be in the sand. It is a tough shot, especially with that back left pin. So I just hit a Tour Pro as far as I could with an RB, I believe. Gets you to around 35-40% and leaves you with a reasonable chance for a drop with the Hive here. So I've had a look, I'm ranging out, and what I'm doing here is I know where the max Hive is on my screen, and so I know what percent of max it is right there that I'm looking at. And I've taken thousands of shots with the Hive, so I know for each percent, and I've done testing and practice with it, I know how much I need to adjust based on what the wind is for each percent. Now, do you have to go that crazy? Maybe not, but I like the wind, so that's what I've done. So again, I've put my guide just short of the hole. If you put your guide right to the hole, often with Hive, it's going to have too much speed when it gets there, unless you're in a full headwind situation. So I've made my adjust. I don't know, you can go back and look what it was. I think it was just over 1 there, 1.2 maybe. And look at the speed in which this rolls in. You have a margin of error, which is the width of the pin, if you roll it in with good speed. If you've gone in with too much speed, if you're off on the edge, that's where you get those ring arounds and it starts rolling around the cup, and they might look pretty or you might swear when you miss, but you get that speed right, those ones drop. So now we're looking at Bigfoot in a tailwind situation, Harbor Town, hole 10, drivable with a DX or a Christmas DX, with the RB and with the Fusion. If you have them maxed out, this one's drivable in a tailwind. You can get right to no adjust. Obviously, I didn't have that. I had a headwind, I believe. So what did I do? I laid up to max Bigfoot range. So here I am, max Bigfoot. I know the distance back from max. I'm going to take off a couple bars of backspin so that I can see what the ball is going to do in that tailwind situation. I know it's going to give it a big push. Now, here's another thing I do on this hole. I know I'm going to be adjusting back down a hill. So I'm going to set up a little bit closer to the hole than I normally would. Because as you're pulling back down that hill, you're going to lose a little bit of distance. So you can adjust for that by offsetting. So after you've done your adjust here, you can move it up a couple ticks. You can account for that by taking off a little bit of backspin. Or you can do what I did here and just set up a little bit closer to the pin. So I've set up closer to the pin than I normally would. I've got a nice line. I've reapplied my backspin, hit perfect, and collect 999 TB and a -2. Now, this is a fun one. So like I said, Trump and you was giving me a hell of a time in that tournament. So this was on Christmas Eve, and I think I went maybe 27 or 28 my first go. And then he got within 1, and I thought, maybe I'll just have another look at this. What does it show up there? 9:22 at night? I think I'll have another look at this and just see how I start out, because it goes par 4, par 4, par 3, par 3. So I hit the first par 4. That one's pretty straightforward. This one, you're just looking to get big TB. And I thought, yeah, if I do well, maybe if I hit the next par 3s, then maybe I'll keep going, try and improve on my score. So here I've just set up, there's a big tailwind, so I've taken a bar of backspin off because I know that line's going to compress, or sorry, it's going to expand after I hit my shot. And I let it fly, and I'm hoping for a 1700, a 1750, something in there. Well, look at this rollout. At this point I'm going, Oh, this might be close. This might be close. And then it takes that hard kick right and goes in for the ace on the par 4. I think I've only had 5 or 6 of those. And you notice that hard turn kick on the right, kick to the right at the very end. And I think that's the reason why you missed that shot. If you leave it down just on the green, it's a tough putt. I've missed that one a ton. Anyway, stuff to take out of this one. So we've got lightning rod, club selection, so important. I'll get into some more lightning rod later, but for now, if you need it, start off just using it in a headwind. So you hit to max Bigfoot, and now if you're going to have to adjust into overpower, start using lightning rod. It's a great club. I get tons of drops with it. We looked at setting up a little bit closer to the hole if you're going to be adjusting down a hill. So that's another good point to take from this. And finding a consistent spot to line up, especially with Bigfoot. So I try and keep that around 1.5, 2 rings. And then you start working on, okay, if I've got a 4.2 wind on the headwind, where do I need my guide to be? If I have a 3.6, if you're using a good ball, where do I need my guide to be? If you're using a down in the like a 70% ball, you might have a wind that's a 4.5, a 4.6, a 4.7. Now where do I put my guide? So all these little things, and these changes aren't going to happen overnight. You need a bunch of looks at them and some repetition, but you'll get there and you'll get those drops. I've had a ton of feedback so far. I think scores are improving. Thanks for watching these. I appreciate it. Hope you guys had a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is you celebrate. Be safe out there, and thanks for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you